Sunday, the 12th of November, 2023, they say. So we'll just go with that. And you are looking at the Lasco 3 camera at UTC time 8:30 this morning. Boom shakalaka. So this, I knew that we had pulled out the day before. The soul had ascended up. If you're on tacos, I even have a post that I was shown that over Israel. And you can see a soul ascending up, and then everything gets really, really quiet. It's a giant ball. But I also saw it coming out of the Lasco on the 11th, and that as soon as that small little glowworm came out of the Lasco, and it looked like it came out over Polis, which is 1 degree Capricorn, the Lasco glitched half and half like it had been. And then we had a series of glitches. And then on the Lasco 2 red cameras, all the fire that was coming out of Sagittarius started forming in Capricorn right above Vega. And Vega is the bloodline to the 22 star races. Vega is between Mars and Venus. And what we're really, really, really starting to understand as a consciousness and cosmically, we were on Mars. So what I'm on here right now, really, really quick, because this is Sunday. It's a day of rest. It's supposed to be. And I don't know if you're feeling it, but I mean, I feel like I've been hit by a series of jets. Like I've just been in a freaking etheric washing machine. A lot of pain that I wasn't even able to experience, because in 2018, when they blew my codes, the first thing they did was clear my pain tolerance and my fear tolerance. So one of the first things I started noticing this morning is that I could feel again. And for a lot of us that were buried at the bottom of the sediment and our etheric bodies so split, then that, I mean, you really didn't have all your body. So we're definitely coming back into body. And what I'm seeing from this is that this is the Ascended Angel Collective. This is the 144,000. We all pulled one. Only one of us has to get out. Only one of us ever had to get out, and then we're all connected. And if you notice on this, we've even got 2 shades of black, because this was all about putting the cosmos back together. This was all about Venus and Mars working together, because that was the whole thing the MJ12 program had control of this whole time, was Venus and Venetian reality codes. And the beings of us held hostage that were Venus from long time ago, buried under your sand, different types of bones, different types of this, different types of that. And for the past 3 years, it's really been what we've been battling, because all of us didn't know where our bones were. We didn't know where we were buried. We had no idea why the beings that were around us feeding those stories. And what we're learning now is because they knew where the bodies were. And they've been finding the bodies since 2017. They weren't finding them before then. Why? Because we weren't here. Yahshua's sister, and who I claim and know I am, and why I was down at the bottom of the well, and is Sarah Damaris. And Sarah Damaris is the character that everybody just took out of history. But now that this is all unfolding, it's making sense as to how that name was lost because we were and have been on Mars. Basically, whenever even Yahshua ascended and then came back 3 days, in a lot of ways, if you ascended a program, you're going to go up into the ethers. And if you're in the planetary solar system, and you then basically, that's where Yahshua was projecting from. But then also it went up a different chain of command, and it's kind of like you get stuck there. Then they brought humanity to Mars, not realizing that just like on Earth, and just like because wherever the humans are, wherever we're buried, where it prints, because it's all made by these ancient codes, and those of us who are connected into those lines that are connected into the rest of the human race since the beginning of what you would call civilization, humans, men, time. This was a 1,000,000-year count. Most of the stuff that I've been dealing with has all been about putting the human back together after a blowout, the same as Anunnaki were doing and did before. And that's why I had the consciousness and the Akashic Library to be able to do it, because that is basically what they had made me, was an Anunnaki princess. But realize that all that happened because we had been on Mars. I'm saying all of that because this is the ascended. This is us. We pulled up over this Lascaux, and we're holding this field. Now, this actually, I have pictures of this field in all black as a burst of light when all the codes came in 2017, when I pulled all the codes out of my body in that swimming pool on Del Largo Way, Del Largo, Florida, Mar-a-Lago. But my Del Largo was in Frisco, Texas. And that's whenever that connection to the solar system, to Mars, to the other realities, to the parallel realities, that's whenever that door opened up, because we had to replant a planet for all of us to exist on. And since 2017, that's what we did. That's why we had to go clear Venus, because Venus and Mars had to start talking to each other. We've been rebirthing the cosmos this whole time. Now we have ascended up, and we're holding, and we know that there is a new moon and a brand new moon, like a new moon, a brand new one, a real one, that is coming up. It's interesting that popped up. Exactly. Oh God, I ran this before. We're probably, man, who knows? Who knows how this all works? It blows my mind. What I want to show you is the chart, because what I just realized is that this new moon is going to be a moon, sun, Mars lineup. This new moon, the sun and the moon are going to be at 21 degrees, 22 degrees possibly, somewhere between 21 and 22 when this lines up tomorrow for this new moon, on top of Mars. On top of Mars. So what I'm seeing, and we really did just make a phone call to Mars. Venus codes are now coming in. That happened at 12:03, 3:03, 30:30. Because what we're also realizing is that those of us that were sent to what you think the South, especially Louisiana, those of us that had European descent, that came down here and settled at different times over history in New Orleans, in the South, we were your Puritans and your ancient descendants. And a lot of us were even conscious or even subconscious of the fact of why we were sent down to the south by our families. But in a way, we were sent down to the south in order to be sedated, so that when the end days came, that we would be down here in order to pull us all off of Mars, pull us out of this simulation that had been going on and stacked on top of only ancient bones since the beginning of this bullshit. So the codes have gone out to Mars, and jump. You got to jump. So basically what's going to happen is, as the sun aligns over Mars, I'm seeing just, man, I'm seeing like an angelic heaven gate. I'm literally seeing the soul, like, cuz now there's two realities that are stacked on top of each other. And so all of our brothers and sisters, even a lot of our twins, a lot of the beings that were still deadlocked into this Mars consciousness because of whatever, it doesn't even matter how, because there weren't very many of us that even got out of it, because realize that Mars, your next jump is going to be to go through the sun. And the sun had to have a solar alignment. It had to be reclicked into place. There's all these things that had to be fixed out in the cosmos because of MJ12 and all the dark side reality stuff that had been set up in order to keep this simulation running on a record. So what I'm seeing is like a bright freaking, and this is why it's also memories of Atlantis, because if you go back to those stories of Atlantis and even Lemuria, what those times will show you is that the people saw a sun or a moon, some type of disc that came into their reality, and it looked like it was bleeding. In both of those stories, what you'll find is that a sun or a moon or some type of illuminant came into the reality, and it just looked like it was bleeding into the reality. Well, I'm seeing that reversed. What I'm seeing in my head is basically us coming over because we're massive. We're cosmic now. It's like a big white cloud that's going to come over and hang, and that's 333. I just got it, 333. And it's going to hang over Mars and literally suck, because everybody that's in that consciousness that has chosen to tune, that has set right with their heart, even they might not have even done any clearing, done anything, except they know it's not right. They know that they want to out. What I'm seeing is that with the new moon, the Venus codes, and with Venus, because Venus is holding over here in Alpha Draconic Notice 1 still, and Venus is now on my Pluto. So this is soul contracts. This is back to your soul mission. This is it's not even existent on the things necessarily that you've been doing for the past 7 years, even for this particular alignment, because everybody's getting a chance to get out. Just because you get sucked out of Mars doesn't mean that you're, already on the ladders that we're on. Now you still have to climb the ladder, but you're getting sucked out of, like, straight up, like, beam me up, Scotty. That's even available to happen because of where Mercury is right now. Mercury is in Ophiuchus 2, which the very beginning degrees of Sagittarius are aligned to these degrees over here in Sagittarius. These two areas are Ophiuchus 2 and Ophiuchus 1. It goes backwards because Ophiuchus 2 has two pillars. This goes back even to why they took down the Twin Towers. This goes back to any type of buildings that they've put up constructed that have two twin towers. Those two twin towers, while they're there, wherever you are, is to connect Sagittarian energy. And at the very beginning degrees of Ophiuchus, in Ophiuchus 2, this is the consciousness of Ma'at. It's the consciousness of a pharaoh. It's not necessarily the pharaoh. It's the consciousness. It's all the dead pharaohs. It's all the dead. It's all the dead ancients. It's that consciousness. So Mercury, our minds are holding that ancient resurrection consciousness, which is the consciousness that's given me all the data to understand what's been going on, the cosmos, all these ancient downloads, incoming to the human race, incoming ancient downloads, incoming ancient downloads, incoming ancient downloads. Big time, big time, big time data dump. Big time, big time. Big time. That's what's holding it. That's what's happening. Wow. I think that's all I'm going to say. One thing I would say, just to anybody that sees this and your messages today, if you're a healer and you're like me and you're getting data out to everybody, the messages today is to command ascension out of Mars. Command ascension out of Mars. Command ascend me to Damaris. Damaris is basically Yahshua. This is why they kept this. This is why they kept this all a secret. They kept this a secret because the ascension out of Mars isn't going to be Yahshua. It isn't going to be Jesus. It's going to be Damaris. Same line, but that's why so many people didn't get it. Development of a new type of savior for the line on a different realm. What I'm seeing is that Yahshua was Venus. See, because it's flip-flop. It's flip-flop. Like, there's a character that I traveled around with for a while who's actually starting to come back into the fold, and we're excited for that because we knew that it would happen eventually. And this particular guy was running around with me in 2020 over in California at the thick of it, in the middle of the government stuff, all that. And this particular guy looks a lot like, well, he looks like someone that normally people would be scared of because he's got long black hair. He looked more like a Muslim. He looked more like a Saddam Hussein, you know. And then you've got me. I'm this little blonde, I don't know if y'all know, but I'm short as hell. I'm 5'2". It blows y'all's mind when y'all meet me because the energy doesn't match how little I am. And I look like the approachable one. He looks like the unapproachable one. Well, the funny thing is, as we're having to get these messages out, travel all over the place, do what we did, I'm the one that everybody ended up being scared of. I'm the one that ended up having to get pissed off and had to pull the trigger in a masculine way. He was the one that was going back behind me, settling, making nice, trying to explain why I was saying what I was doing, but always in a very Mary Magdalene type of way. And so it was such a mind fuck to see us together because it was so opposite. Well, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that basically Yahshua was a Venus Maldek being, and how it was even formed, because we knew as ancients and Essenes, we knew that we projected Yahshua down here. Yahshua was our creation. It appeared as a man because we were attached to that being, projecting that being, working together with that being from another side. But what I'm seeing is that he ascended up into up out of Venus, then he would go into between Vega, because Vega would be the line that would be able to make that project. Vegan star seeds and Sirian star seeds, we didn't star seed. Let me explain. Lyra star seeded. What does that mean? Lyra mixed their DNA with a bunch of different beings. That's why Lyra is a harp. It's like, which two strings did you go between? Because that's all going to depend on what root race you're in of Lyran starseeds. That's why everybody down here ended up being in a Lyran program. Vega is in the very middle of all the Lyra. Lyra 1, Lyra 2, Vega goes in the middle, the other side of Lyra 2 on the other side, and then Lyra 3. Just like a funnel. Just like a funnel. Lyra 1, Lyra 2, Vega, the other side of Lyra 2, split, Lyra 3, Aquarius. Vega is made from 22 star races all mixed together. Would be what you would call Anunnaki DNA, only because it's 22 star races mixed together. That is what Anunnaki is, period, dot. The rest of it, you can erase all, whatever. That's why we have the ancient knowledge. Sirius, same thing, from the opposite end. Cancer, Capricorn. This is a Cancer, Capricorn flip. Problem was, the pole wasn't even in Cancer, is in Gemini. And Yahoo's coming in today. We're taking out his meat suit. FYI, no Yahoo, no net for net in Yahoo, and no Yusuf for a Benjamin. All thrown offline. Just a little bit made a big difference. So I'm saying all that because your Vegan and your Sirian starseeds, we're the most ancient starseeds that are connected into the human race that is currently here. The reason that Vegans and Sirians did not starseed is to keep our DNA pure for end of days. It's all been a master plan. So what I'm even saying all of this because in a lot of ways, what's happening is the human race is getting a vegan upgrade. The human race is getting a vegan Sirian upgrade. So it doesn't matter if you were seeded by Lot, because I've got Lyra. My Jupiter is Capricorn 1. Lyra 1, the original sets, right? Which is why I know all of this. It's also Edward Casey, all that. That's first root race. So we just made a new root race. We just made a new race. Basically washing everybody of all this seeding that was also, and we can take that to the cloud seeding, we can take that to even THC seeding, like any seeds that were down here, but it was all seeds were to get different stuff inside of us in order to get us to put it off in our aura in order to guide us into stars in different ways. Well, everybody's getting a vegan Sirian upgrade. And the rest of it that was attached to an old reality, that was attached to whatever, even your skin, even your fingernails, even the inside of our organs are going to start changing. Like, this is a massive, because in this area of space and where we're going, our bodies are having to adjust to work together, but independently for the first time ever in human history. So it's epic. We're finally starting to understand how this is going to go down and how it's working in the etherics and what we've been doing. So take care of yourself today. Today is a day of rest. There might be some because it is the last day culmination on a 04310 week that we have done with the human race. And look, that is that is the first time in human history that we even as a human race completed a 04310 Christ code alignment. Those of us that were in the line 04310 days, that was a normal thing. It was a normal thing to have those in succession. But for the entire human race to do it together, to resurrect together in order to pull this off, first time ever. I might be back later. I just wanted everyone to know. This is the first new moon on Mars in his